Class is a custom data type or user defined data type in C++, which allows to create a package containing data and functions together. It is seen as a blueprint for creating objects where the objects can manage the data and functions. I have this code to begin with. In this code we have this structure student, which is another way of creating class. This is also a class, a type of class you can say, which has the pointer name and id as its members. And we have a global function set to receive the data, the student object id and name, and copy it into the this object's members, sobj name and sobj id. We have a display function which receives student objects and displays its data, and we have a deallocate function which deallocates the dynamic memory that actually is allocated for the name member. Here we have a student object created in the main function, global function set called, and student object passed and the data passed to write into it, and display function called to display the data. Student object is passed, and deallocate function called. Student object is passed. Here we have global member functions which are actually designed to work with this student object or its data members. Instead of putting the functions that works with the members of this structure in the global space, it is more convenient and safer to put these functions inside the struct itself, and it is always preferable to package them together, the data and functions which are closely related. For example, we have a name id, and these are the functions that only work with this name and id. This display is a function that works with name and id. Deallocate also works with the members of this structure. So if we have the function that only work with the data of a class, then we it is preferred to put this together inside the class, inside the scope of the class, like this. And we don't want to use the global member function to access the class data. With this we need to make some changes, because we have this object is we don't need to pass this object, because this we are within the object itself, so we can directly access the name, the members of that object, yeah, and both the name and id we can directly access. This is the function that will work with this data, and also we can have this display function. Since we are within the object class itself, we don't need to pass the object here. We should remove this the prefix, and also in the deallocate function we can remove the parameter and just delete the name, because these name id are directly accessible if we are and since we are within the class in the class definition itself. So now with this we have this class with the data members and the member functions, and these member functions are designed to work for this data. So this is something called packaging or bundling of the data and the functions together. So in the main function to access this member function, we need to use dot with the object of this student class or struct. So if I want to invoke set function, then I would have to use st.set, since we already have created object. So a set, and we don't need to pass this object here. And in the display also st.display, and we don't pass this object. Deallocate, we don't pass this object. So this way we have one object, and then everything that we use with that object belongs to that object. This is something that is actually desired when we are talking about I mean packaging the data and functions together, and this packaging is also called something called encapsulation. So you are putting the related things together as a capsule in a capsule. One more thing to note here is uh, a class, the structure of a class may not only contain these variables of this uh, fundamental types. It may also contain objects of other type. For example, if I want to store the marks of the student, I can create a type marks, something like this. So we can create a marks structure, and we can have a member going to float marks and the number of elements in that dynamic array. Number of marks. So this is also, this all three belongs to the data category, and with this change you also need to supply the marks. You can supply as a marks object, pass as a reference, and you make it constant, so that this function within this function, this parameter cannot be used to change the data. Const, and let me call it MKS. So now here you need to copy this marks into this object, this marks object. I think there is a, there could be confusion since I am using the marks for this object and its member is also marks. So let me call this object marks object, marks object, right? So I want to copy this marks into marks object. Since this marks is has a pointer member which will be pointing to the dynamic array, so you need to create allocate memory for marks. So first let me copy number of marks dot number of marks equals to dot number of marks, and we allocate memory new float, and the size is going to be the same thing, this number of marks, and in the loop you copy the marks values one by one. So this will be the set function that we will be using this class with additional object marks, and in the display you can in addition to ID and name you can also display marks. So we display like this marks, and then you can display the values of the marks. We don't need to display total number of marks in this case. We can use that to iterate in a loop. It's going to be marks object and marks element, followed by in this place I want to put comma, in the I want to separate the displayed marks by comma, and in the last, for the last case I want to put dot. So for that I can use a conditional expression I equals to marks object dot number of marks minus 1. If this is the case, then we put dot, otherwise we put comma. And finally we want to insert a new line character. So this is the display function, and for to deallocate the memory, you have a dynamic memory for the max as well, like it was allocated in this place. So you need to release that dynamic memory, and the syntax for doing that is similar to the way we delete the name dynamic memory. You have delete keyword. This is array, and then max obj, and then you access max through the obj and max, right? So this will actually release the dynamic memory that was allocated in this place. So with this change in the client code, we could create a marks object, my marks object, and we set sid. Let me see, it is my marks. Equals to let me have 5, and dot equals to new float 5 equals to 44.44, 55.55, 66.66, 77.77, 88.88, 1 2 3 4 5. Yeah, 1 2 3. Yeah, that is enough. So with this we can pass that max object, because if you look into the set function, we have that max object passed at the last in the last parameter. So we pass that max object here. So I think this should be it for this code. Let me switch to the terminal to see whether it is working or not. Compilation and linking command, I think there are some issues here. Coming back, this is a marks. Oh, sorry, this should be my marks. The type should match with the type. Yeah, and let me try to compile again. So another issue is the number of marks. I think it should be number of marks, I guess. So it should be, no, this is line number 28, should be number of marks. And another issue was, yeah, in line 58 and 59. Number of marks, and 59 I think maybe we want to remove this thing here. So let me try one more time. So it is compiling without issue now. Execution, now it is displaying 101 name. I think I should have inserted one space after the name, and marks, they are displayed 44.44, 55, and so on. It is working without we don't have issue with this. One thing we want to make change is here when you display you want to put maybe space or comma here. Okay, with this you can bundle the data members and the functions together. This is the process that is used in the encapsulation. Encapsulation is a bit more than this, but this is the first step you want to do in the encapsulation process.